विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पचचादि सदादिने। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Radha Shama Sundara, Radha Shama Sundara, Jai Krishna Balaram, Jai Krishna Balaram, Jai Krishna Balaram, Jai Krishna Balaram, Jai Jagannatha, Jai Baladeva, Jai Subhadra, Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavatu Me, Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavatu Me, Jaya Gauranika, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribol, Jai Satchinandana, Jai Satchinandana, Jai Satchinandana, Gaura Hare, Jai Satchinandana, Jai Satchinandana, Jai Satchinandana, Gaura Hare, Gaura 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 Hare, Gaura 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 Hare, Nitai Gaura Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribol. मुरारी गौर हरि गौरा गौरा गौर हरि गौरा गौरा गौर हरि निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल। जय प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु पदा जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद। ताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। देवं विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राज काचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमद डिवाइन वेसी भक्ति वेदांत सांस्कृपाद की जय। देवं विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राज काचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमद डिवाइन वेसी भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गुरु गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नमाचार्य श्री ललिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। श्री क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगामय यमुनामय की जय। भक्ति देव तुलसी महारानी की जय। पार्श्व एकादशी की जय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ऑल glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Shri Prabhupada की जय। नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय पुत्रे श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नित्रामणे नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारण्य विशेष शून्यवाद पाश्चात्य देस्तारण्य। ओम तत्सत्। नमस्ते नरसिंहाय प्रह्लादलाददायिने काशीपो वक्षः शिलताङ्कानखालये इतो नरसिंहा परतो नरसिंहा यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंहा पहे नरसिंहो हृदये नरसिंहो नरसिंहमदिं शरणं प्रपद्ये तव करकमलपरे नाकाम् अद्भुत शृङ्गां कलिता हिरण्यकशिपो तनुभृङ्गां केशवधृता नरहरिरूप जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे। जय नरसिंहदे जय नरसिंहदे जय नरसिंहदे जय नरसिंहदे। जय प्रह्लाद महाराज जय प्रह्लाद महाराज जय प्रह्लाद महाराज जय प्रह्लाद महाराज। विघ्न विनाशक नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय। भक्त श्रवण प्रह्लाद महाराज की जय। ओ प्रेमानंद हरि हरि बोल। जय राधा माधव कुंजा विहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंजा विहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदना व्रज जनरंजना यशोदानंदना व्रज जनरंजना। यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदना व्रज जनरंजना वरदारि सोदनन्दना व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनतीरावनचारि राधमाधवा भुजामि हारि हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे by Gaur Premanande Hari Bol. Okay, we are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, titled Observing the Armies, verse number 36. The chant repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayat nasta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama sloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Hari Om Tat Sat. Chapter 1, verse number 36, Observing the Armies. Papam nivashtrayedasman hatva etan atatayinah tasmin narah vayam hantum dartarashtan sabandhavan swajanam hi katam hatva sukhinah syamamadava. Papam nivashtrayedasman hatva etan atatayinah tasman narah vayam hantum dartarashtan sabandhavan swajanam hi katam hatva sukhinah syamamadava. Papam nivashtrayedasman hatva etan atatayinah tasman narah vayam hantum dartarashtan sabandhavan swajanam hi katam hatva sukhinah syamamadava. Word to word translation. Papam, vices. Eva, certainly. Ashtraye, must come upon. Asmin, us. Hatva, by killing. Etan, all these. Atatayana, aggressors. Tasma, therefore. Na, never. arha, deserving, vayam, we, hantum, to kill. Dattarashtra, the sons of Dhritarashtra, Sabandhavan, along with friends. Swajanam, kinsmen, he, certainly. Katam, how, hatva, by killing. Sukinaha, happy. Syama, will we become Madhava, O Krishna, husband of the goddess of fortune. Translation by Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of the goddess of fortune? And how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen? Repeat. Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of the goddess of fortune? And how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen? Verse number 37 to 38. यदि अपि तेन पश्यन्ति लोभ उपहत चेतसः कुलक्षय कृतं दोषं मित्रद्रोहे च पातकम् कथं न ज्ञेयम् अस्माभिः पापादस्मान् निवर्तितुम् कुलक्षय कृतं दोषं प्रपश्यद्भिर्जनार्दन यदि अपि तेन पश्यन्ति लोभ उपहत चेतसः कुलक्षय कृतं दोषं मित्रद्रोहे च पातकम् कथं न ज्ञेयम् अस्माभिः पापादस्मान् निवर्तितुम् कुलक्षय कृतं दोषं प्रपश्यद्भिर्जनार्दन यदि अपि तेन पश्यन्ति लोभ उपहत चेतसः कुलक्षय कृतं दोषं मित्रद्रोहे च पातकम् कथं न ज्ञेयम् अस्माभिः पापादस्मिन् निवर्तितुम् कुलक्षय कृतं दोषं प्रपश्यद्भिर्जनार्दन. Translation. Yadi, if, api, even, ete, they, not, do not, pasyanti, see. Lobha, by greed, upahata, overpowered, chetasa, their hearts, kulakshaya, in killing the family, krutam, done, dosham, fault, mitradrohe, in quarreling with friends, cha, also, patakam, sinful reactions, katam, why, na, should not, gneyam, be known, asmavi, by us, papat, from sins, asmad, these, nivartitum, to cease, kulakshaya, in the destruction of dynasty, Krutam, doshe, done, dosham, crime, prapasyad bihi, by those who can see, Janardana, O Krishna. Translation. O Janardana, although these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends, why should we, who can see the crime in destroying a family, engage in these acts of sin? They repeat, O Janardana, although these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends, why should we, who can see the crime in destroying a family, engage in these acts of sin? Verse number 39. Kulakshaye pranasyanti kuladharma sanatana dharme nashte kulam krishnam adharmo abhivavati uta. Kulakshaye pranasyanti kuladharma sanatana dharme nashte kulam krishnam adharmo abhivavati uta. Kulakshaye pranasyanti kuladharma sanatana dharme nashte kulam krishnam adharmo abhivavati uta. Word translation. Kulakshaye, in destroying the family, pranasyanti, become vanquished. Kuladharma, the family traditions, sanatana, eternal, dharme, religion, naste, being destroyed. Kulam, family, krishnam, whole, adharma, irreligion, abhivavati, transforms, uta, it is said. Translation. With the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligion. Repeat, with the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligion. Verse number 40. Adharma bhavat Krishna Krishna pradushyanti kulastriya strishu dustasu varsneya jayate varna sankaraha. Adharma bhavat Krishna pradushyanti kulastriya strishu dustasu varsneya jayate varna sankaraha. Adharma vibhavat Krishna pradushyanti kulastriyah strishu dushtasu varsneya jayate varna sankaraha. Multiple translation. Adharma, irreligion. Abhibhavat, having become predominant. Krishna, O Krishna. Pradushyanti, become polluted. Kulastriya, family ladies. Strishu, by the womanhood. Dushtasu, being so polluted. Varsneya, O descendant of Vrishni. Jayate, comes into being. Varna Sankaraha, unwanted progeny. Translation. When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the woman of the family becomes polluted, and from the degradation of womanhood, O descendant of Vrishni, comes unwanted progeny. Repeat. When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the woman of the family becomes polluted, and from the degradation of the womanhood, O descendant of Vrishni, comes unwanted progeny. What's number 41? With that we will stop. Sankaro naraka eva kulagnanam kulasya cha patanti pitaro hyesham lupta pindodaka kriyah. Sankaro naraka eva kulagnanam kulasya cha patanti pitaro hyesham lupta pindodaka kriyah. Sankaro naraka eva kulagnanam kulasya cha patanti pitaro hyesham lupta pindodaka kriyah. Sankara, such unwanted children, naraka, make for hellish life, eva, certainly, kulagnanam, for those who are killers of the family, kulasya, for the family, cha, also, patanti, fall down, pitaraha, forefathers, he, certainly, esham, of them, lupta, stopped, pinda, of offerings of food, udaka and water, kriya, performances. Translation. An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life for both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performances for offering them food and water are entirely stopped. An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life for both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performances for offering them food and water are entirely stopped. I will try to understand here what is mentioned. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmelitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum lagayate girim yatkrupa tamaham vande Sri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanyeswaram. Harihi Om Tatsat. So here we are in the last section of this chapter, observing the armies. So Arjuna is giving various reasons, expressing for not doing the duty. Why he is not doing? He is giving those various reasons and doubts. He should perform duty or not. So to Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. So before that, we see that in the chapter 1 beginning, how this whole gradually is setting the scene, how this material world works, how this various, because of the not having fully realized knowledge who we are, who is Supreme Lord, and what is our relationship, whom everything belongs to, because of this not having the understanding, full understanding, 100% understanding, then so we have this same problem as starting with Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana. who doesn't have any knowledge of the self or the super self, soul or the super soul. So that's why the first one is established of because of the enviousness, jealousy, and unwanted consciousness is there in Dhritarashtra. So that is so that's it. Krishna is establishing that in the first verse itself. Then from the second verse onward, we see how the Duryodhana is also following the same characteristics of diplomacy and politics, and trying to also in his dealings, in his interactions with his Dronacharya, in his speech, in his conversations, is criticizing others without having a proper attitude and consciousness, how to discuss and interact with elders, especially superiors, especially like a teacher who has taught everything to Duryodhana and all the Pandavas. For everyone, Dronacharya was the teacher, including the Drishtadyumna, who was going to kill him. So such a liberal Brahmana as a teacher, he acted as per the Shastra. So all those instructions we can see. Then gradually, this is all we see in today's world, in material world, everywhere. So everybody expect something back. After receiving, there is no gratitude. When we receive knowledge or when we receive something, we don't have gratitude for parents, we don't have gratitude for elders, superiors, we don't have gratitude from whom we received many gifts, many types of things in our life. So when we don't have that gratitude, it becomes then we will not receive the mercy. When the elders, when the superiors, when the parents are not happy, then our progress is checked. Our especially our spiritual progress is curtailed. Our progress to mode of goodness, at least, even that is curtailed too. So that's why it is very important in how we interact, with what consciousness we interact is very important. We shouldn't be in this same consciousness as Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana. Then as we go up in the next section, third section, we see that how these various leaders, because Krishna wants to bring all together those who doesn't want to follow rules, who wants to take up the position, wants to enjoy for themselves, not carrying on the duty of the leadership position, not performing the actual duty, and protecting those who are underneath them. So then they all will be together. Everybody will be wiped out, starting with Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra, both parties. In Kauravas and Pandavas side also, both parties were killed, if you see. Except only 5 Pandavas, Satyaki and Kripacharya, Ashwadhama. Ashwadhama also supposed to be killed, but he was left on the mercy of Draupadi and Krishna, because he is the son of Dronacharya. And this is where we see that otherwise almost pretty much everybody is killed on the battlefield. So that's what it meant. So the leadership position, whatever leadership position we take in this material world, in whatever roles we are performing, so we should be careful in following that direction of Shastra is clearly indicating. So for the father, for the mother, or as a parent, guardian, as a leader in a company or leader in a society, leader in a country, 1/6 of the population, 1/6 of the sinful activity incurred by the especially the king or the prime minister, chief minister, that kind of roles. So imagine how much they have to suffer, how many lifetimes they have to suffer if they don't follow the direction of the Shastra for being on that role. So that's why it is not so easy. We can get on to that role because of the previous pious trade, but if we don't utilize it, then we'll have to suffer. We may not even get human birth in the next life. So that will be the consequence of not following the duties of understanding that leadership position coming with responsibility. So that's what is been explained in the third section, and then the fourth section continued where it is explained further is signs of victory. The victory in our material and spiritual life only will come when we surrender, when our senses are engaged in the senses of the soul, senses of the living entity, the human being engaged in the Supreme Lord senses, when we see things, everything in relation with Krishna. When we execute duties under the guidance of the Supreme Lord or his representative, then only we can get the victory. Otherwise, it's not possible. So, especially for spiritual progress, it is not at all possible without that surrender. That's what is explained in seeing is showing by an example of Arjuna. That's why that blowing the conch shells is being shown in that way. How Pandava side and Kaurava side, big difference. Even though Pandava side only few people are there, 11 Akshonis and 7 Akshonis, and Kaurava side 11 Akshonis. So many warriors compared to the strengths. If you keep Krishna on the side, then compared to the strength is very not so much. Only these 5 Pandavas and a few other warriors are there, but not so much, especially compared to Bhishma and Drona and Karna. The 3 especially are great warriors. It's not possible to win against them, but because Dharma is there, because of Krishna is there, and Agni Dev is given the chariot. So many, Hanuman is there on the chariot as a flag, is giving the war cries, inciting the fighter, especially the Arjuna, increasing his enthusiasm to fight more vigorously. So in various ways, all these personalities, and goddess of fortune is also there, as it is mentioned in this verse, Syama Madhava, who is the wife, husband of goddess of fortune, Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. So in this way, it is that is mentioned in the next section, and then the 5th section, as we can see. I think I might have missed one section. Here 6th section, it is mentioned where we are going through. Arjuna was then put into condition after seeing the battlefield, all the armies, especially on different types of relationships, and then he forgot the duty. He forgot his own position. He forgot as a leader, as a Kshatriya. He forgot his own dharma, and then he went on to a bodily concept of life. He was relating with his own family. He is thinking in a smaller way. His position, leadership, everything he lost. He forgot the actual dharma of the Shastra, what he is supposed to do as a Kshatriya. Then he was, because the knowledge, transcendental knowledge must be given, so that's why he was put into that condition. So now Arjuna is giving various reasons. The previous reasons we have said, because of compassion, I don't want to fight. Because of compassion, I don't want to fight because there is no enjoyment. Compassion for their own family. That's what he is telling. I have compassion. Because of compassion, I don't want to fight. Because of no enjoyment, whom I am going to share this opulence with? There no enjoyment. You are supposed to give me pleasure to my senses, Govinda. But you are not giving. You are telling me opposite, and he is using various Madhusudana. You are supposed to. You didn't kill your own family members. You killed the demons, but here they are not demons. So why are you asking me to kill? So you are supposed to maintain and give pleasure, maintain us, and then remove our distress as Janardana. But you are rather giving distress by asking me to fight with my own family members. So in these various ways, Arjuna is expressing. Arjuna is giving various doubts, various reasons for not doing his duty. Now, in this verse, from 36 onwards, it is mentioned here, Papam evashrayed, asmat. And then is giving other reasons from 36 to 41. We see that sinful activity. I am going to incur sinful activity by killing my own family members. Even though there are 6 kinds of aggressors. All these 6 things we have seen, starting with how Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana, and because of the association, completely lost all his pious credits, especially Bhakti Unmukha Sukriti, Moksha Unmukha Sukriti. All lost. Only Karma Unmukha Sukriti is little bit left, some ordinary pious credit little bit left. So that's why they have still some wealth. But they lost all the Vivek, all the intelligence. Because of the wrong association, wrong instructions. So because of that, then Dhritarashtra also didn't say anything. When they engaged, they fed poison in the given poison in the food to Pandavas. Somehow or the other they want to kill Pandavas. Even though they are actually, when Pandu died at early age, they were small kids. They were under the shelter of Dhritarashtra. That means he is the guardian. He is supposed to protect but he is thinking, why should I suffer? Because I am blind, I didn't get the kingdom, I was not able to sit on the throne. He was alright because this is the plan of Mr. Sekuni and others telling Duryodhana, inciting Duryodhana, and then Duryodhana, yeah, you are right. So I am supposed to sit on the throne. Why should I give it to Pandavas? In that way, he has come completely thinking how to enjoy the kingdom, how to sit on the throne, despite not so much caring about the dharma or anything. So is not thinking about the living entities or is praja, not so much. Is simply trying to create disturbance, trying to create a fight among the family members between them. Is not even ready to share. Okay, all right. If you want to sit on the throne, they are ready to. Krishna also told them, just give 5 villages. You can take the whole thing. So giving 5 villages is nothing. Small villages. So they are not expecting anything big because as Kshatriya, that's what they are supposed to do. Only do a Kshatriya duty, not Sudra or Vaisya duty. So that's why they asked. Even all those things were given. Then only when nothing was possible, then only this war was declared. So that's here. But Arjuna, you can see the difference of quality of a devotee. As Arjuna is expressing that I don't want to fight because I am encouraging sinful activity, even though there are 6 kinds of aggressors. Duryodhana and party. He has given the poison. He has tried to take away, steal wife Draupadi. Yeah, so many ways. They are trying to disrobe. Then when they were in the forest in exile, also Jayadratha and many. So many times they tried in so many ways. Actually, when they told, they went somewhere in the forest, and then Jayadratha along the way, he saw Draupadi was alone. Then he started by force taking away Draupadi. Then some sage was there. Then he informed when the Pandavas came back. Then they caught Jayadratha. They already was going at a high speed. He left that place, but they caught hold of him, and then they removed they shaved him up, except keeping a little hair. Almost like they could have killed him, but see, all the etiquette was followed. Yudhishthira Maharaj told, no, don't kill him. So you should leave him with just so that he is shameful for a Kshatriya. Shaving his head is like a completely his false ego gets hurt big time. So that it's like almost worse than death. So that's why Jayadratha goes and performs severe penances to please Lord Shiva to get a boon to somehow or the other check Pandavas, or kill Pandavas, restrict Pandavas from winning. So like that, Jayadratha wants. See the mentality. This is the envious jealousy nature. If we cannot win, if we cannot get things, then others also cannot supposed to get anything. It's not about following dharma. Somehow or the other, he has to win. He has to get others' property. This is the first instruction in the Vedas. We will go to that. Here the first mentioned here, third reason it is mentioned is sinful activity. But Arjuna is thinking that even if they did poison, they are giving poison, they try to kill us, they try to take away our wife, they try to take away all our wealth, plunder the riches, they try to. So there are 6 kinds of aggressors. All of them. All these 6 cases are covered. They did all of this. Poison giver, one who sets fire to the house, Laka house. And then they dig. Vidura was helping them all the way. From all these cases, Vidura was such a humble, such a exalted Vaishnava, is always compassionate because he knows how Pandavas are always following Dharma. One who attacks with deadly weapon, they tried, even while they are in exile, while they are in a 12-year forest, they tried to do as much as possible. So many different ways. Sending Durvasa Muni, they tried to also do that. Even when they are in exile also, they tried to go to that kingdom where they were under the Virata's kingdom. So many different ways they tried to somehow or the other make them lose everything. So that is the character of a Duryodhana and party. You can imagine. So that's what is mentioned. Deadly weapons, one who plunders riches, they did that. One who occupies another's land, and one who kidnaps the wife. So all these 6 things were done. But despite that, even the Arjuna is telling Atatayana, they are aggressors. But despite that, he is saying, no, they are my own family. It doesn't apply to me. As Yudhishthira Maharaj also says, 64 crores of men were killed on the battlefield. But it is for right reason. Following Dharma, to protect Dharma, they have been killed. So he is not getting any simple. But because Yudhishthira Maharaj is so for Dharma personified, he is thinking, no, because of me, I killed all of them. So that's why he was so morose. Then Bhishma Pitama had to give instructions. So Lord wants to glorify his devotee, Bhishma. So when Bhishma had to give instructions, then only Yudhishthira was pacified, and finally he was enthroned and he had taken the position. This is after the Kurukshetra war. In this way, always all the Pandavas are in that same humility and same thinking that this under the shelter of Krishna, under the guidance of Brahmanas and the seniors, they want to be rule the kingdom, or they want to perform the duty, thinking everything in relation with Krishna. They don't want otherwise for their own enjoyment. So that's what. So, but Arjuna is telling, even though there are six kinds of aggressors, it doesn't apply to me. It is going to create sinful activity because they are my own family members, especially grandfather, especially my teacher, Bhishma and Drona. They did so much to me, so I am going to incur sinful activity. That's what he is telling. Then further he is telling, even though they have, because you may see, because they are filled up with greed, so much intense greed to accumulate things. So, but don't see, because what is going to happen? See the end result. The end result is so many people will be killed, and it's unwanted. It's so much bloodshed. So many people will be killed. It's not a good proposal. So when the result is, you can see the result, reversal in the result, then it's no point. Even though other side may ready to do it, then you don't need to do that. So that's what Arjuna is telling in the verse number 37. Overtaken by greed. So don't engage in this. Why are you asking me to engage in this destroying the family? And then further he is telling destruction of dynasty. And then he is telling the false, this irreligion will happen, unwanted progeny will come. These are the various reasons. And then further he is telling causes hellish life, because they are, because if the male person, the sons are, when especially the irreligion happens, that means they are not going to offer any more pinda. Every year there is a day where they offer to their forefathers to deliver them, that is worshipping Lord Vishnu and offering some prasadam. So then they will get delivered, the forefathers get delivered. Especially the Bhadra Purnima is coming up, very popular, very auspicious day by distributing, by giving Srimad Bhagavatam on Bhadra Purnima day, which is September 1st for US. In India, I think September 2nd. Very important day, where by just giving Srimad Bhagavatam to anybody else, by donating to the temple, or by donating libraries, by donating or giving gift to others, then you can give the gift or donate on the name of your forefathers. They can get delivered from their current conditioning. So this is the greatest. So that's what here, one of the reason Arjuna is telling is all this will be stopped. The pinda, offering of pinda, Shraddha ceremonies, they will be stopped. That means they will be engaged, they will be in hellish life, the forefathers. If they are not offering, their sons or daughters are not offering this, then they cannot progress. They cannot get even human birth if they don't have human birth because of their past karma. So that's why it is very important. That's why people want to have sons generally. Putra is the is the one who is supposed to deliver. Pu means hell, and Trayate means one who delivers their father and forefathers from the hellish condition is called Putra. Same thing with Putri also. So that's why it is very important in these important days, to, especially as per Shastra, Srimad Bhagavatam is telling, and other Puranas are telling, by especially donating or giving charity of Srimad Bhagavatam is the highest benediction, highest thing we can do. So Now coming back to this is the higher points. The what are the 5 6 reasons Arjuna has given. Now going back to the actual thing. So what it is telling us, what is the instruction here? The first one is the papam, sinful activity. That is the one, and then the greed. These two are the important things we need to learn. So why this is happening? Especially the sinful activity. Arjuna is mentioning about the papam, sinful activity. So the what is karma, what is vikarma, what is akarma? We have to understand what is sinful activity means. Sinful activity also means aga, also sin. So in Ishopanishad, in the beginning of Vedic knowledge itself, in the Ishopanishad it is mentioned for a human being when he comes to the material world, he is supposed to perform sacrifices. He is supposed to utilize only things what is allocated for the human being. He is not supposed to utilize somebody else's property, which is belong to somebody else, as a property, even the food, everything. There is a particular quota, particular things specified for a human being what he should do, as per the Vedic scriptures instructions. It is mentioned, Isavasyam idam sarvam yatkinchit jagatyam jagatyena tektena punjita ma gruda kasya siddhanam. The living entity, the especially human being, must take only what is assigned, allocated for his quota for him. If he takes more than what he is supposed to do, what is supposed is allocated, he is taking encroaching on others' property. So then, if he follows the exactly as per scriptures, he takes only his quota, assigned quota. Then you will nicely be happy in this life and next life also. But if he doesn't, then in the third verse, Ishopanishad, verse number 3, it is mentioned, Atma Hano Jana, killer of his own soul, is going to engage in Asuri Eva Jana, is going to enter into the hellish life, Pretya Abhigachanti. That means after death, he is going to enter in more and more hellish life perpetually. That means for many lifetimes, not one life, many lifetimes. He has to go lower and lower species of life, not even human birth is guaranteed. So that is the danger when we don't utilize, when we try to encroach others' property, when we try to eat what is not supposed to be done for the human being, when we don't do as per the Shastric injunctions, regulative principles. So that is very important. That's what it means as per the Ishopanishad. That is the first instruction. So now coming back to even Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned. And also when we engage in sinful activity means against the religious principles, against the rules and regulations given in the Shastra, what human being supposed to do, what he is not supposed to do. If he does, that's what even Parikshit Maharaj asking Sukadeva Goswami when he is about to die. He didn't ask first highest thing, how he can be liberated. He told first, tell me what he is not supposed to do, what a living entity not supposed to do. And also tell me what I am supposed to do, especially when I am about to die in 7 days. So Parikshit Maharaj is told about this greed aspect, what he is not supposed to do, simple activities, irreligious things. So that is what is first he mentioned. Then he mentioned about what he is supposed to do. Always chant and hear and remember Krishna. That he mentioned later on in detail. But the first thing is this. So the sinful activity, whenever we engage in against religious principle, that is called weak karma. That means against karma means, first of all, karma means prescribed duties. Whatever Shastra is saying, okay, following rules, driving on the left hand, or at a speed limit, like that we have rules and regulations. Same way for a human being means he is supposed to eat certain type of food only, supposed to take only what is offered to in the yajna. In the third chapter, Krishna is mentioning when the living entities are born, enter into this material world, especially when they are taken up these various types of bodies in this material world, then they have to subsist on food grains, and for that to happen, they must perform yajnas. They must engage in sacrifices. Especially Kali Yuga, the best sacrifice is chanting the holy name of the Lord, Sankirtana Yajna. That is what is recommended for this Kali Yuga. Yuga Dharma is Sankirtana Yajna. So that must be performed. Otherwise, Yajna Sistasino Santo Muchante Sarva Kilpisha Bunjate to Agam Papa. Same thing is mentioned, this Papa. agam papa pachanti atma karana. He will be the reason because of not engaging in sacrifices. He is simply eating directly. If food is available, why it is not me? Why it is not for me? One instance also, this six kind of aggressor. It is mentioned these mosquitoes. Prabhupada, one of the in Mayapur, 1976. Used to translate books. So they used to put a big mosquito net because they are Mayapur at that time it was not so developed. So it was a farmland and so many mosquitoes. India also, especially, it's even more. Some of the places. So they used to put a big mosquito net, and Prabhupada tell these mosquitoes are the most serious. What do you call this? Serious aggressors. This is one of the worst aggressors because they have been given those who living and who want to suck others' blood. Then that is the type of body they have been received depending on the condition, because somebody supposed to want to eat, because I have seen in my childhood people want to eat blood of an animal. It's thinking itself is it's very difficult to even think about it, but that's what some people are accustomed to eat because they have been accustomed to eat. They are following somehow because of association or whatever, from family tradition or however it came. Imagine so the mosquito has been given. When that thought process is there, immediately Shastra is clearly giving these indications. Then automatically in the next life they will get this type of body. The mosquito has a certain type of body. Immediately within fraction of second, it has a pipe to get a blood, touch it, and it get a blood from the directly through the skin. Get a blood directly, such a very quickly, so without like any injections or anything. Naturally, that is the type of mosquito. Prabhupada was telling this is the aggressor. So then they tried to put the net, and still some mosquitoes are remaining. They remove it and then without killing. Dr. Prabhupada emphasized, make sure don't kill. So that's what this is the mentality of living entity. Whatever mentality, whatever consciousness they have, in the next life they will receive that kind of body. So that's why we have to be careful. I can do whatever I like, any food, every food, whatever, everything is available for me. Why shouldn't I eat? Why there is a restriction? If it is available, that means it is for my consumption. We can argue like that, but we cannot argue at the time of death what type of body we are going to receive. Shastra is clearly indicating what we will receive, and Shastra is clearly giving instruction. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is clearly telling in third chapter of Bhagavad Gita. When I created this material world, I am giving these rules. So it's like when you come to US, when you go to India, there are certain rules and regulations. If you say that no, I don't want to follow, I want to do whatever, then where we'll end up? We'll end up in prison house. So that's why we end up in this material world when we don't follow rules of the our natural quality of understanding. We are not the enjoyer. Supreme Lord Sri Krishna is the enjoyer. We are supposed to be the servant. We are supposed to serve the Supreme Lord. We are the minute. So that when we don't have that, when we have that false ego, you want to be the master, you want to be the engineer, that's when we are thrown into this place of this material. But he is very merciful. Being here as a super soul is guiding, situated in our heart, even though we are the one turned away from him, but he is still trying to guide. When he is trying to come back to me, he is trying to instruct in so many different ways, as a super soul, as a spiritual master coming out. He's giving the Shastra, he's giving the instructions in so many ways, but we are the one who doesn't want to take up. So that's why. So that's what is mentioned here. Papam, sinful activity. Krishna's first instruction in third chapter. Krishna is explaining. One must perform, definitely, one must perform sacrifices, yajna. Without yajna, we are directly taking sin only. When we are eating food, when we are drinking, whatever we do, whatever things we put. That's why if you want to remove greed, in the next point, next verse it is mentioned lobha. If you want to remove the greed of this enjoyment, greed of accumulating the greed for puja and pratishtha, honor and distinction, all these things, how it can be removed. So the first thing is tongue. Tongue must be purified. And that's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur is giving that. Mahaprasade Govinde Namo Brahmane Vaishnave Swalpavadne Vatandajan Viswasana Vijayate Sarira Abhidyajal Jajendriya Tahekal Jive Phale Vishde Sakare Lobomaya Sudurmati. Lobha means Sudurmati. That Lobha means greed. Sudurmati means very difficult to come out of the greed. So that's why that start with taking prasad means it is offered in the yajna. By taking that prasad, then gradually our layers and layers of greed at a gross level, subtle level of greed means physical level greed means gross means keep on accumulating. If somebody else has a car, somebody else has a bigger home, somebody has more money, somebody has this new phone, then immediately we want. As devotees also we see that we are so much fascinated by others' dress, we are so much fascinated by others' devices and resources and car and so many things. We are so much attracted by this external glaring effulgence of the Lord, external beauty of it. But this is all coming under the physical gross greed at the level of gross level. And the greed at the internal, the subtle level is more, it comes out in the form of puja and pratishtha, respect, honor. Everybody must honor me, respect me. So that is in the form of somebody says, oh, why are you performing these fruitive activities? This is useless. This is not going to help. But he will be very angry if you say to somebody performing various types of religiosity, different, or doing some charity work and this thing, that thing. We say as per Shastra, this is what it means. When somebody engages in fruitive activities, what they will get? They will get pious credits, and then they may enjoy, they may get some nice birth, or they may get some wealth for some time, and after that is finished, then we have to get again lower species of life. So we may not even get human birth. So that is the fruitive activity of karma kanda vichar. So then the same thing with jnana also. Getting knowledge for just to get knowledge is not good enough. It must be in relation with Krishna. Then only it is helpful. Otherwise, the same thing with yoga also. You can perform all kinds of mystic yoga, hatha yoga, all those things. But if it is not going to be in relation with Krishna, yoginam of sarvesham madgatena antaratmana. If it is not in relation with Krishna, uniting with Krishna, uniting with Lord Vishnu, the same thing that also will lead into honor and respect. This is a subtle kind of greed. And all this sinful activity transform. That's why Bhagavad Gita in later on 16th chapter, you see that three gates to hell. Those three gates to hell is Trivida Narakasyedam. They mentioned that those three are Kama, Lobha, Moha. No, lust, anger, and desire to enjoy separately from Kama, lust, anger, and greed. These three things. These are the three gates to hell. In 16th chapter, verse number 20, 21, 22. Krishna is explaining. This is the demoniac mentality, not divine quality. This is coming under demoniac. So we have to come out of it. So, and this sometimes people think that sinful activity means I can counteract. I can counteract by engaging some atonement. You go to temple, somehow I perform this activity, please forgive me. Please, from tomorrow on, I am not going to do. So this kind of atonement is not going to help, especially by atoning. Okay, I will break some coconuts, I will do some puja. This kind of atonement, especially the fruitive activities, or jnana kanda activities, or yoga, all of these are not going to remove this lust, anger, and greed. The sinful mentality is not going to be removed. That's why Shastra is clearly telling. Nahi tata agavan rajan puyeta adibihi, puyeta tapasa adibihi. Simply by performing austerity or some fruitive activities, some charity work, or some performing severe study of scriptures, all these various types of religious things is not going to purify the living entity from this lust and anger and greed. It is not going to happen. Yeah, it is like it is mentioned like prayaschittani chirnani. What is it? Nishpunanti Rajendra, na Nishpunanti Rajendra, Surakumbam Vibhavaga. So it is like cleaning, purifying the liquor bottle. Iva Pa Aga, that means reverse with you will bring water from Ganga and Yamuna and so many places to purify a bottle which had liquor before. However, you purify, it is not going to be possible. It is not going to, you cannot remove that thing. So you cannot use it for any other thing. It's just simply waste. You have to throw that only. That bottle is not going to be used at all. It cannot be reused. So that is the same way. So the when we engage in any regular austerity, charity, regular, ordinary karma kanda or gnana kanda, anything not in relation with Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna, if it is not bhakti yoga, then it is not going to remove our lust, anger, greed. These three things cannot be removed. So that's why it is mentioned we need to perform the bhakti yoga, where it is not Krishnarpita pranas. Krishnarpita, when as soon as you come in touch, as soon as you started offering, then even if it's fully surrender, even though we haven't realized Krishna, Sakrit Krishna Manah Padara Vindayo, then it mentioned. Sakrit Krishna Manah Padar Vendayor. Even one time fully surrendering to Krishna, at the lotus feet of Krishna. Even though we are not realized yet, we haven't realized Krishna, we haven't realized fully absolute truth, but we want to fully surrender. We might have committed so many sinful activities, but that itself will take us, it automatically gives Tat batan na yamam swapne chiranti. Even in dreams also, Yamaraj, the police of those who are engaged in sinful activities. Yamaraj is the one who is going to take the soul and give the punishment for the sinful activity for so long period of time, depending on how much we have done. So, but we will not, by performing, by surrendering at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, Lord Vishnu, then automatically we will come out of this lust, anger and greed. Lust and anger and greed, slowly and gradually. But that requires this surrendering to the Supreme Lord. Without that, there is no possibility. Again and again we keep on engaging. That's why we see Vishwamitra, the yogi is great, karmi is great, jnanis, again and again engaging in sinful activity. They are not able to control the gross level of greed, subtle level of greed, the puja and pratishtha. And then further Shastra is instructing is to come out of this sinful activity, lust, anger, greed, is to engage in associating with the pure devotees of the Lord, Visuddha Vaishnavas. Visuddha Vaishnavas means purified souls who doesn't have any envy, false ego, or jealousy, lust, anger, greed, fully attached to Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Their full life is revolving around distributing Krishna and engaging in Krishna conscious activity whole life. So by associating with them, by hearing from them, automatically it is like it is Shastra is mentioning the example like a lightning comes. So lightning is transferred from one cloud to another cloud. So like that, the consciousness of the pure devotee is transferred from that by our association, by our following their instruction, automatically transferred from that pure devotee to the others, those who are coming in touch with them. So that's why Sadhu Sangha, we can see the example of how Narada Muni is by simply his association, the hunter who was half killing the animals, so much sinful activity, especially not even directly killing, but half killing. That means so much pain you are creating, you are giving to that animal. So that is even more sinful activity. So then, as Narada Muni is seeing that and he is instructing that person, woman hunter, the animal hunter, then immediately he started following the instruction. Then when he came next after a few months, then immediately became a great devotee. He gave him the mantra Mara Mara, and that became Rama. Then he became a great devotee, Valmiki, and he wrote the Ramayana. Imagine this is just so many examples. Narada Muni and Vyasdev, all these are exalted souls. Especially Narada Muni, so many disciples. These kind of even ordinary souls who are lower species of life. Even for them also, by his association, he delivered all of them. So that's what. That's why it is very important. Even Ambarish Maharaj's brother or cousin, I forget. Even him also, he was not. He tried to instruct, tried to do so many different ways to bring him into Krishna consciousness. But he was engaged in so many sinful. No, he was not listening at all. He was not following any instruction. Then he somehow or the other he told Nardamuni to do something. Then Nardamuni tried to enter into his house. He didn't allow from the gate itself. He didn't even open the gate. From there itself, he shouted that just ask this question when you meet Yamaraj, when you so that just what is the moments of association of a pure devotee of the Lord? This is the question you ask. Then he immediately he met death just next day or so. His time is up already. Nardamuni knowing future, he has went there and he given this just one liner. And then he was able to remember because of his association, moments of association, Nardamuni. When he went to Yamaraj, then he asked Yamaraj this question. They couldn't answer. They went to Brahma and Shiva. Finally, they went to Vaikuntha to ask Lord Vishnu, what is the result of a moments of association with a pure devotee? That's it. He already entered in Vaikuntha. So, see, imagine. So that is the moments of by the moments of association of a pure devotee, the living entity can be purified. So very quickly and rapidly. So this is that is the result. So that is the only way by performing bhakti, by associating, by taking Krishna Prasad, by chanting the holy name of the Lord. So that's why this process is given. And Nam Yakar Buddha Nija Sarvasakti. All the potency is being included in this, especially the holy name of the Lord, in this especially Kali Yuga, that is the Yuga Dharma of this age. Sankirtana Yajna has been given. Shastra is telling again and again. Kalo, what is it? Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Namaiva Kevalam. 3 times it is mentioned. Kalo Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva. Nasteva Gatiranyada. There is no other process other than the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, which can deliver the living entity, especially in Kali Yuga. So that's why the chanting of the holy name is very, very important, and gradually and slowly and gradually we develop a taste. Initially, taste may not be developed, so while we are chanting, but gradually when we engage in physical service, when we come in touch with pure devotees, as you hear from pure devotees, and then following their instruction and make changes in the life, that is very important. Because if you don't make any change, you just simply hear and do nothing about it, then it is not going to help. Because there is no practice, we are not putting into practice, we are simply hearing from one ear and then going into the other ear. So then it is not going to help. So only when we put into practice, implement it. So the Sambandha and Abhideya, the Prayojana and Abhideya, Abhideya and Prayojana. Yeah, so when you put into practice, implementation, then only there is a result of transformation. Otherwise, it's just simply information going from one ear and going out from another ear. So that is not going to be helpful. So that's why we have to start making changes in our lifestyle, in our desires, in our thought process, in our consciousness. This is the first instructions of Nectar of Instruction also. Rupa Goswami is instructing. Atyahar prayasascha prajalpo nimagra janasangascha laulyancha sadbhir bhaktir vinasyati. Your bhakti will be destroyed if you keep on accumulating. All your mind is, consciousness is all about accumulating things just for our own enjoyment, not to distribute. Yes, you can accumulate, there is no problem in getting money, no problem. But if we are thinking in relation with Krishna, utilizing it for service of the Supreme Lord and to others, distribute to others, but in relation with Krishna, otherwise that's going to give again, it will be ordinary pious credits. It's not going to help us really come out of our miserable condition of life. So that's why it's performing in relation with Krishna, everything. Accumulating wealth is fine as long as it is not, as long as it is used for Krishna, then it is no problem. It is not going to cause you any problem. But the minute we are thinking to use it for ourselves, then it is a problem, because it causes great anxiety, lust, anger, greed, more and more. It increases. Then that is following the Upanishad verse number 3. Then we will not even get human birth in the next life because of our so much engrossed in this three gates to hell. So that's why we have to be cautious on that. Atyahara prayasasya, over endeavoring, over collecting more than what is required as per our quota, and not always keeping on things. So we don't even distribute. We think what we'll do with this money. We will carry on till the next life. Yes, we can keep some definitely for our maintenance and all those things. But some always, especially those in Grihastha ashram, they must distribute some percentage definitely in the service, especially engaging in Krishna conscious activities, charity work, donating, sacrifices, all these various ways, distributing prasad, distributing books, all these ways. When you engage, then automatically your money ardha becomes paramartha. Otherwise, the wealth also, because when you try to enjoy Lakshmi, enjoy money means Lakshmi Devi. And Lakshmi Devi is with who? Is always with Lord Narayan. Lakshmi is always with Narayan. On the chest of Lord Narayan. She is always serving Lord Narayan. So when you try to engage or utilize for your own enjoyment, Narayan will be there, well, Lakshmi will be happy? No. It will cause distress and anxiety and all the other problems will come. But when it is utilized in the service of Lord Narayan, Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu, then it will be pleasing and more will get happiness, anandamaya bhyasat. Otherwise, it will give anxiety. It will create great distress and anxiety, and this because of this lust and anger and greed. So that's why Shastra is giving these instructions. Even though it is mentioned that it is a sinful activity we are going to incur by engaging in this war, engaging in killing this my own family member. But he's telling, so there is also two things, right? When you go on the war field, like there's sometimes India and China war, India and Pakistan, US and so many different countries, World War One and Two and Three, and every day there is a war. So some place or the other, fighting with different countries going on. So at that time, if somebody is killing somebody, there is no simple activity. They are not going to be punished. But the same person comes out and try to kill outside when they are not wearing their when they are not on the duty, when they are off the duty. When they do the same thing, they take a gun and then kill somebody. They take a sword and kill somebody. Then they will be punished. That is a simple activity. Same way, so here Arjuna is trying to tell that so he is going to incur sinful activity, but rather it's opposite, because he is supposed to do dharma. When you are on the battlefield to protect the country and you don't want to fight, then it is called adharma, because you have given you are in the navy or military or air force and you are supposed to fight and you don't want to do. Then what does that mean? That means you are going against the rule of the government, because so that is what you wanted to do, but then you don't want to do. The same way, Arjuna as a Kshatriya, as a leader, he wants to give it up because he is thinking this is sinful activity. But when you don't follow dharma, then that is what is the sinful activity. So in this way, we understand the agha means sinful activity. We'll engage in sinful activity when it is not in relation with Krishna. So when we are not following the duty, the leadership position, the rule, the authority, when we are not following the proper authority, Shastra, Sadhu, Guru, these are the three things must be guided always. Here Krishna is guiding, Vyasdev is guiding, the Domya is guiding the Pandavas. Are all telling to protect the dharma, you have to fight, because all the choices we tried our best to not have war, but they didn't follow. Then it is inevitable. It must be done. At one shot, all of these people who doesn't want to follow the rules, then rules of the engagement, then they will all be killed at one shot. So that's why it is very important to understand as a human being, as a spirit soul, as a servant of the Supreme Lord, as a servant of the Super Soul, then we must utilize it everything carefully, every penny, the money, the resources, everything must be utilized properly. We should understand whom it belongs. Even though we are working, we are putting the efforts, we are bringing the money, so we are the one who are purchasing things, but whom it belongs actually in reality. So that we have to consider and always utilize accordingly, proportionately. So carefully. Then automatically, and then engage in this chanting and hearing and remembering the Supreme Lord. So then automatically will come out of this mentality, the consciousness of this sinful activity, and also the greed. So that's why it is mentioned Atyahara, Prayasa, Prajalpo, Niyamagraha. Sometimes many people engage in this Niyamagraha, whether it's they perform austerity on the name of rules and regulations. They don't understand. To increase, to develop attachment to Krishna, to understand the relation to the God, so they don't perform on that basis. They perform just for the sake of attaining some pious credits. So that is not so good. So that's why niyama agraha and agraha. One is agraha means accepting. No, agraha means eagerly accepting. Eagerly accepting because just to get some results, some material pious credits, and then rejecting. Agraha means rejecting. So rejecting means we don't. Why? What is this ekaz? I don't want to follow. What is this? Why I should do charity? It is my. I am the one who worked hard, and this is my money. Why should I give charity? So then we do our own way. Then that's going to incur sinful activity. That's going to increase. That's going to increase more and more bondage and attachment, and then we will lose even our human birth because of our mentality and our consciousness for not following. So that's why it is mentioned. That is the first rule before even starting devotion service. This is mentioned. Nectar of instruction. Atyahara prayasas prajalpo niyamagraha. Agraha and agraha. And then janasangascha laulyam. So the final point, the laulyam means greed, because of so much greed to accumulate and greed at a subtle level, also the false pride. So much they want honor and respect at each and every level. Then to come out of that, then Rupa Goswami is instructing by distributing the wealth, distributing whatever we have slowly and gradually. By performing 6 exchanges, Dadati Pratigunati Guhyam Akyati Unjate Bojate Chaiva Sadvida Priti Laksham. That's why the exchange with Vaishnavas, devotees who are servants of the Supreme Lord, especially the pure devotees, those who are fully dedicated, by offering them, by offering our service, physical service, whatever, monetary service, various ways, whatever way we can help within our capacity, then that will purify, our body, gross level, subtle level, and the mind, intelligence, all false, all of them gets purified. Dadati, giving, charity, giving, also distributing the prasadam, giving prasadam to others, inviting other devotees to our home, and we taking prasadam at their home. Same way, the gifts, giving gifts to them, and then receiving gifts them, and the confidentially discussing with them, and then also hearing from them in this way. So both, it's a mutual exchange. So this way it helps us to progress and come out of these tendencies of not able to control our senses and not able to understand what are the rules of the engagement, being in this material world, being especially as a human being. So that's what these verses, more than the actual points of reasons, it is telling us, giving instructions how to utilize everything and come out of this lust, anger, greed, otherwise three ways to hell, 3 gates to hell. So we want to avoid that. Who wants? Because the spirit soul, we are Ananda Vyasad. We are supposed to be always happy. Nobody wants distress. Nobody wants to go to hell. Nobody wants to suffer. Nobody wants to meet death. So that is the quality, natural quality of the spirit soul. So then we must follow. It doesn't come automatically. Nothing comes automatically. Nothing comes by chance. Everything is happening by the will of the Supreme Lord. To the degree we are following instruction, to that degree we are receiving the results of it. So it is nothing is happening by chance. Don't think that by chance something is going to turn out good tomorrow without putting our efforts. That's not going to be possible. So we have to put our effort. We have to do something about it. So that's why this transcendental knowledge is helps. Bhagavad Gita instruction helps in the form of Arjuna, in the form of Duryodhana, through all these characters. It rather is giving instructions to us more than the actual story and the characters. It is more the principle and the essence, and putting them in practice is the important. That's what Bhagavad Gita is all about, practical application. And it's not so much about learning the verse, which is good, which is a pious activity, which will help in remembering at some point of time. As you are chanting these verses, you may remember Krishna. But if we are not putting in practice, that may not be so helpful in our life. Tendency still will be there. So with that, I will stop here.